Hi, everyone. My name is Christina. I am a career counselor at the UCLA Career Center. Welcome to the Physician Assistant Jumpstart. We have a packed agenda today, and this is it. So Total Care will come on shortly after a couple of slides that I had to talk about opportunities at Total Care. PA admissions are in-house, KGI, USC, Western, and Marshall B. Ketchum. And we have 10 minutes for Q&A and closing remarks if the time allows. Just a quick reminder that we have upcoming events. In case your PA school requires the GRE, we will be offering GRE strategy sessions through Princeton Review. You can also win a 50% off scholarship if you participate in the strategy session. And we will be also offering a GRE practice test also through Princeton Review. It's free online test. Once you register, you have access to the test for 3 months. So even if you don't plan on taking it next the week we are offering it, you may want to register to see if you want to take it in the next 3 months. And very quickly, a quick overview of pre-health services and resources. We have tons of things that we offer at the Career Center. We have the Pre-Health at UCLA website where you can find great information about PA programs. We have the Facebook page where we share information from sister institutions, from other programs, job offers, all sorts of great things, reminders of upcoming events. You can also schedule counseling sessions, pre-health as well as general ones. Virtual and in-person appointments can be scheduled on Handshake. Pre-health newsletter, bi-weekly, fall, winter, and spring quarters. To sign up, all you need to do is select healthcare as your industry preference. You do have pre-health drop-ins on Fridays virtually, 12 to 1. Sorry about the starting date. I need to change that. But there is, we offering it through week 1 and 1 through 10 every quarter. So feel free to stop by for quick questions regarding pre-health topics. And we also host pre-med pre-health workshops just like this one, and we record them, and you can find the recording later on the Career Center's YouTube channel. And this is all I had. So I'm gonna stop share, and I will invite Ben, and I guess
Lynn.
also Lynn. Great. Hi, Lynn. Thank you for coming to talk about Total Care. Ben, I made, let me see if I can give you, I can make you co-host in that case. If you need to share screen or send any messages through chat, you will be able to do that too. So feel free to take it over.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect. Sorry, 1 second. Let me adjust on here. Okay, Ben, you want to talk while I'm figuring?
Yeah, so I guess to give some background. So my name's Ben. I'm the chief of staff here at Total Care Walk-in Clinic, and here's Lynn. She's actually our managing director. Sorry, just trying to make Zoom allow us to share a screen. But yeah, definitely to give a few background. Oh, do you need a?
Yeah, I'd have to restart. Just go ahead and talk.
Okay, yeah, so just to give a little background. So we are a series of primary care clinics that are located in SoCal, primarily, as you can see here now, in the Inland Empire. So our locations, our original one is in Chino, the top left, and then Eastville followed, then Corona, El Monte, and Irvine and San Bernardino. So we're pretty much in all 4 counties in Southern California. So wherever you are, we're located pretty close. But our main focus is primary care, and we also offer a lot of different services, including, like urgent care and aesthetics. So we really want to kind of just present this opportunity, tell you guys a little bit more about us, and see if you guys can get some experience out of it. Okay, so this is our provider team. The top row is kind of all of our doctors. In the top left there, Dr. Wong and Dr. Zhang, so they're actually the medical directors. They're the ones that originally found Total Care in the original Chino location. And right next to them, you see there's Dr. Leong, Silva, Dr. Peterson, Quintanar, and Dr. Tran. So we have a lot of, I guess, diversity in terms of both doctors and mid-levels. So doctors wise, there's family medicine, internal medicine. And as you can tell, what makes us a little different from, I think, your traditional, primary care clinic is we have a lot of different mid-level providers. And not only do we have a bunch of PAs, we also have a lot of NPs. So in the mid row there, you can see a few of the PAs we have. There's a few more, but this is kind of just the general idea of who's in our provider team. But we have Jesslyn, Song, and then at the bottom there, you can also see we have a lot of nurse practitioners. So we really value this mid-level participation, both in kind of just passing on this primary care knowledge that all of our doctors have, grown so accustomed to providing to patients, and also being able to cultivate that new level, the next generation of provider.
Yeah, and just to add a couple things. So I know a lot of you, I mean, this is a pre-PA program. And so, I think one of the biggest questions for everyone is, what exactly does a PA do? And, how does a PA fit into like a broader healthcare landscape? And so, from experience, I can say that a lot of our past medical assistants, you can see our team is very diverse. And so, every day as a medical assistant, you would work with probably some combination of doctors, NPs, PAs, even acupuncturists, and, we have some wellness and ancillary services as well. And so in that process, you really kind of, start to see, wow, like the profound impact that a PA has, despite still, I think we have patients all the time that don't know what a PA is, and, they'll call our PAs doctors because really they're as good as them. Of course, you guys, I'm sure the training process is a lot more accelerated, more condensed, but really, after 2.5 years, you come out, you can prescribe, you can perform procedures. And really, a lot of our patients have grown to really rely on our PAs and NPs as a true primary care provider. And of course, it is a team-based environment. And so, our practice, we see everybody from age, 0 to all the way to, over 100. And so obviously, depending on the different complexities and cases and questions that the patient might have, sometimes we need to involve the doctor. So I would say typically, for example, for, more elderly patients, of course, for those that were just discharged from the hospital, a lot of times then we need a little bit more expertise and experience. But by and large, our PAs are able to handle, very confidently, like 90% probably of cases. And the other beauty of this model is that, we're able to hire a very diverse cultural team too. So, one of our biggest advantages and, things that we offer to patients is we speak 3 languages. So yeah, I was looking at the roster here. It seems like a lot of you, maybe speak a foreign language or two. Being in Southern California, obviously we have very diverse communities everywhere. And so, for where our clinics are based, a lot of times we need Spanish speakers, we need Mandarin Chinese speakers. And patients, of course, really, really appreciate it when they can directly communicate with the provider in their own native language. And so, we've, as you can see here, hired a very diverse provider team. And of course, we have a diverse team of medical assistants who can help translate also, when the provider doesn't speak a certain language. Okay, next slide. Go ahead.
Yeah, and so I guess on that note, this is kind of just a little sneak peek of who our medical providers are, our medical assistants are. They're actually a lot of students in most cases, either still in school or taking a gap year, trying to really discover like what is it hands like on the ground in the medical field setting. So as you can see in the middle row, we have a lot of you guys from UCLA. A great example is Jasmine. So she's actually on the pre-med track, but she basically took a year off, spent it with us, got a lot of great experience, met so many different patients, got a ton of different great stories, and from there actually got accepted into her top school choice in med school, which was, a little unfortunate, but it was USC, so she went there. But yeah, a lot of people, a lot of these MAs that we have, they're in really similar shoes to you, where basically they just want to get this experience. And a giant barrier to this experience in the traditional sense is, as an MA, you actually need to get a certification for most practices. So I don't know if you guys have tried to look for some experiences in order to get your patient care hours, but a lot of them require, like a 6-month program, 3-month program, a few $1,000s here and there, just so you can finally start getting that paid patient care experience. So our model is a little different in that we want you guys to help the patients out as soon as you can and really just experience what it's like on the front line. So in saying that, we have all that training done in-house. So there's no certification required. Everything, including front office, back office, any procedure you want to learn, venipuncture, EKGs, skin allergy tests, pretty much anything. As long as you're willing to learn, we're definitely willing to teach. And we really love seeing, just the different reactions of all these MAs saying, wow, like we can perform all these things without a license. Like usually they kind of gave up trying to find one of these opportunities during their gap year, just because it wasn't really feasible. Like I said, you guys usually have a year max. And if you need to spend 6 months of that year just to get a license before you can start practicing, it usually pushes people off to find other experiences such as scribing, EMT, but that's where we really wanted to bridge the gap, provide this opportunity to you guys, and really show you what it's like being a primary care provider.
Yeah, and then maybe Ben can share a little bit about how you got started with us.
Yeah, so it's pretty funny. I was originally on the pre-med track. I actually graduated UCLA 3 years ago now. So originally pre-med, I took a gap year to kind of just get some more experience like in the clinic and figure out, maybe primary care is something I'm really interested in. During that gap year time, I worked so closely with so many of our PAs that I figured, based on what I actually want to do, which is mainly just to serve patients, and that's honestly the main thing that I was focused on, I figured, the PA profession is a really great way to kind of have an accelerated track so that I'm able to see patients, help them out, provide this care in just 2 years. It's pretty insane to me. It was a profession I didn't even consider while I was at UCLA, just because I didn't really think it was possible to be, a full provider providing this level of care to patients with just 2 years of extra schooling. So from then I kind of shifted a little to a pre-PA track, but then I made another shift, and now I'm
So Ben's on the administrative team now, still considering, maybe PA in the future, but as we can see, there are a lot of challenges in healthcare, whether on the clinical side, on the administrative side. For our clinic, again, we are very open. Like we said, we speak 3 languages. We have 8 different offices. We're open 7 days a week for walk-ins, for appointments. We take every insurance, including and especially Medi-Cal, right? So Medi-Cal is California's Medicaid insurance for low-income patients. I would say probably 30-40% of our practice in general serves the Medi-Cal base. And so it's a very unique opportunity to just learn, from the ground up what it's like to, especially being in underserved areas. And obviously patients are always very, very grateful for our care and our service. We do take patients who don't have insurance as well. We still charge just $60 for a visit. We haven't changed that since 2007, in spite of inflation. So really our philosophy has always been, we put patients first. And because of that, everyone, you guys can, check our website, our Yelp, Google reviews, but really by and large, patients are very, very positive, and really, really appreciate the care that we provide 7 days a week. Yeah. And I do want to add, so, Ben mentioned that you don't need to be licensed or certified to come in. But of course, we will provide you the training. So it's not to say we'll just throw you in and ask you to do procedures. For definitely not, patient safety is always #1 priority. And so Ben actually, along with some of our other MAs, have actually helped us also develop a curriculum. We keep getting feedback from providers and, from other kind of licensed healthcare professionals. But by now we've developed a very robust kind of 2-week training system. And in addition, I know some of you guys might still want to get certified. For example, phlebotomy is actually pretty quick to get certified. Usually takes about a month, but it does cost $2,000. And so, we have even sponsored I think 6 people now of our medical assistants. So we pay the $2,000 for them to go get certification. And then, you know, and which is to say, it's again, it's optional. So you can still, actually, you are legally allowed to draw blood in the office as long as you've been trained properly, even without a phlebotomy certification. But again, some people feel, you know, they want to go that extra step and really try to get certified. So, so again, wide range of options available for everyone, but we really want to make that investment to offer you guys the right training for you to be able to then, you know, get that patient care experience. I know we're wrapping up, we're kind of coming up on time, so I'll just kind of breeze through the last couple of slides. So, you know, as Ben said, I mean, now we've been around for 15 years, but I would say it's really the last 5 years that we've really actively recruited in a lot of the local colleges. And so at this point, as you know, we know PA is pretty short program. So Katie over here on the top right, she actually just graduated last December. You know, she was one of our medical assistants like 3 years ago. It's crazy. And so the beauty of this is that we have, you know, past alumni and employees who are now at some of the top programs in Southern California. So we've invited them to come back to, you know, our clinic to give talks and give you guys advice, answer questions on their experience. And really, there's a whole community that we have now of pre-health, post-health, you know, everything in between, you know, people that really are passionate about primary care and within healthcare. Okay, last slide. So we do actually literally have a full-time opening right now that's in our El Monte clinic, so not too far from UCLA. It's the closest from all versus out of all of our clinics to the LA area. So to apply, you know, you can definitely check out our website, but generally just send your resume to careers@totalcarechino.com. If you have questions as well, feel free to email us there. Laura is our recruiter, and she, you know, can forward it to the right person or get back to you guys as well.
Thank you so much for the presentation. I have a quick question, and then you have 3 questions in the Q&A. So if you can start typing the answers, that would be great. Do you allow shadowing? Because that's another big question that students have when they are unsure about their careers, or they just want to see what it looks like to be a PA.
Good question. Yeah, so, you know, we do offer shadowing on a limited basis. So for the most part, you know, we really like it if students, let's say, speak like Mandarin Chinese or Spanish, and so they can not only shadow, but also help translate. That just definitely helps us decongest, you know, wait times and really make things more smooth. So if students do speak a foreign language, definitely then we're more able to provide shadowing opportunities.
Thank you again for coming today, and you can take a look at the Q&A questions that you have. And for the interest of time, we're going to move on to our next presentation, which is KGI. If Ben or if you guys can stick around to the last 10 minutes, we're going to have also some time for Q&A.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Christina.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Estes and Justin, ready?
Yes, I'm so happy to be here. Let me go ahead and put up my slideshow here. Thank you for having us. We always enjoy coming and presenting to you all here at UCLA. So I'm Dr. Christy Estes. I am the program director of the MSPA program here at Keck Graduate Institute. And we have our current inaugural cohort student, Justin Mendoza, who is also on the call with me too. I wanted to bring him along to be able to provide a perspective. He's a UCLA grad and also went through our post-bac program here at KGI before getting into the PA program. So I know he's going to have a really unique perspective. And as much as you'd love to hear me talk, I'm sure you would love to hear a perspective of a student who's actually in the program right now too, to be able to ask him questions. So we definitely welcome all questions about our program. So first of all, Keck Graduate Institute is part of the Claremont Colleges. So we're out east of you all, and we were established 25 years ago now in 1997. So now we're going on 26 years. And the KGI was really focused on entrepreneurship and innovation as an organization originally when we were started. So it was never, they didn't know they were going to go into healthcare until they started to evolve and started looking at business and medicine and adding in new programs, and started like a PharmD program, and have a bunch of different interesting programs that we collaborate with here. But just this year started a PA program and then also an occupational therapy doctorate program at the same time. So we are a growing institution, and it's a really exciting time to be here. So our program has achieved provisional accreditation. So this is a accreditation status that is just given to any new PA program. So when you are going and you're starting to assess which programs you want to go to, there's different kinds of accreditation status. There's continued accreditation, which is someone who has been through the provisional process, and then they've been now granted to, have this ongoing accreditation for a longer period of time. There's provisional accreditation, which is for all new programs in their first 5 years of the institution. And then there's also then probation, if they've had some accreditation actions that they have to work on, that the institution, or that our accrediting body thinks they need to work on as well as an institution. So, so we are provisional because we are brand new. We just received our accreditation status about almost a year ago now, and welcomed our first class in August. So our program, just a little bit about us. I'm going to give you a link to our website because we have a lot more information on there. But we are a 27-month program. Our first 15 months is in the didactic phase. So we are currently in the second semester of 4 of the didactic phase, and then a year of clinical rotations that go straight through. We're going to be accepting 40 students per cohort for a while, for the next few years. And what we would be looking at right now as far as timing for our program is you would be applying, if you applied this year, to start in fall of 2024, and you would be graduating in December of 2026. So I know this is going to go by so fast these next few years as you continue down your PA journey. So our program, we have a lot more about this on our program overview that's on our website, but one of the things that I think is really unique to KGI is just our focus on leadership and entrepreneurship. We believe that for the future of medicine, for those of you who want to become PAs in this changing and evolving, constantly flexing world of medicine, you need to be able to be a leader. Even if it's in just the clinical setting and you're working with patients and you don't oversee anything, you still can lead as a clinician. But if you're interested in going into leadership or administrative roles or helping to shape healthcare policy or anything like that, we also want to provide you with the tools for that. And if you have any dreams of starting up something new, maybe being a practice owner, maybe you have an idea for something that would be a really great innovation in medicine to help support, our local underserved communities and things like that. We want to give you the foundational tools for entrepreneurship too, so that you can also, work at and look at actually realistically starting those things as a PA. We have additional focus in surgery and ER. We still cover all the basics of the primary care programs, and we wanted to provide just a little extra training in these areas so that you can be prepared to work in surgery and ER, because those are the top 2 areas that a lot of PA grads go into besides primary care. We have interprofessional collaboration with all of our awesome programs that we have here and that are still in development. And then our early clinical experiences. So starting in this second semester, which is right now, our students are going to be going out into the clinical fields and spending just a handful of hours in a very low stress environment, starting to get their feet wet as a provider before they go into clinical rotations next year. And our focus on community health and, of course, diversity, equity, and inclusion, very, very important to us. We know we live in a very diverse world. We want to be able to, not just interact with patients, but we want to be able to help serve and support patients, as well as our local communities. And we offer training in that, in being able to really serve these communities and do many needs assessments to figure out what's needed and wherever you're practicing and how can you help. So it's super important to us and part of what we talk to our students about. So our admissions process, we have a holistic approach. You'll hear that term a lot in PA admissions, because in general, all of PA education, we're all trying to go into a truly holistic approach. to help support increasing diversity in our field. It's so necessary and so important for our PA profession. So we look at your traditional academic criteria, but we also look at you as a person and what are your goals? What are your attributes? Maybe you didn't do so great when you first started because it was a shock to come into your undergraduate, or you had something happen in your life that affected your capacity to succeed initially. And then, your last 60 credits or your last couple of years, we started to notice an upward trend. It's something that we consider when we're looking at our admissions process. So we do have all these admissions requirements. We require 1,000 hours of patient care experience, and it needs to be hands-on. So you need to be working directly with the patients in some way. Being a medical assistant, a lot of our students were medical assistants or scribes or EMTs. Those are the most common ways that people get patient care experience, but we accept a whole lot of other options as well. We have 7 prereq courses. You can see those online for us, but it's your kind of traditional anatomy, physiology, and chemistries, micro stats. And so you can take a look because some things require labs, some things don't. And ultimately, we just want you to have a good foundation for what we're going to be teaching, because we don't reteach any of those courses that you take as part of your prereqs. We are going to take them in a different direction. So like our anatomy course, we're not just talking about all the bones and the muscles and the nerves, but we're actually talking about them in a clinically relevant way. But again, more information on our website with a lot of detail. We're super, super detailed on our website, and I'll have a link to that at the end here. So our timeline again, CASPA is going to open for y'all if you're ready to apply this year in April, and we have a priority deadline of September 1. And then our CASPA deadline is being moved. So we were at December 1. We're going to be moving it to November 1 to provide us a little more time on the back end to make sure that we're able to get to every application in a good timing and in a good manner. And then this is for the class that would begin in August 2024. So if you're a couple years away from applying, then obviously take all these numbers and extrapolate them in the future for whatever year you're going to be applying to. But I wanted to give a little opportunity for Justin Mendoza to be able to share a bit about his experience and also to be able to answer questions for you all too about what it's been like so far. He has all of 1.5 semesters, or not even a half semester. So 1 whole semester and a month under his belt. But if you have questions, I would love to, have you can just jump in and ask them verbally, or you can throw them in the chat or in the Q&A. So we would love that. One of the things I want to tell you about too, just as this picture goes, as we're waiting for any questions to pop up, is that we have these health fairs that we've been doing in the community now with an organization called Tenna Health. We do those health fairs once every month, and they've been in South LA so far, and we're going to be having them in our local community in Pomona very soon. And it is something that we're very, very eager and excited to be able to help support and serve our community in this way too. And so we've already started doing that, and Justin was part of that as well. So how is KGI with financial aid? Yeah, as a new program, it's really important for us. We accept financial aid. So Justin, do you want to share your experience a little bit with just financial aid processes? Because I know a lot of people, you've done that, so. Oh, I can't hear you, Justin. Still can't hear you. So sorry, bud.
Sometimes the earbuds or the earphones are messing it up.
Can you hear me?
Now we can. Yep.
Sorry about that. Maybe it's my headphones.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, so when it comes to financial aid, basically there are a lot of options. Either you could apply for FAFSA. What I'm currently doing is I applied for student loans, and once you're it's based on basically need requirements. So every semester we get our financial aid tuition deducted, and you could sign up for loans or grants or anything like that every semester.
Yep.
So yeah, it's pretty easy. Just fill out the FAFSA
Mhm.
and it all gets sorted out like that.
We have a great financial aid team at KGI too. So as soon as you're accepted, they connect with you and kind of get you going to and provide some financial aid counseling.
Thank you so much, both Christy and Justin. Please stick around because I see another question in the Q&A about international admissions.
Sure.
In the interest of time, we're going to move on to USC. So Jocelyn, please feel free to take it over and share your screen.
Okay, 1 second. Okay, can everybody see that? Okay, and then can everybody hear me? Because I have your
Yes,
on
we
too.
can.
Okay, awesome. Hello, everyone. First of all, thank you so much for having me here today. Very excited to be here. My name is Jocelyn Tobar. I'm an admissions counselor with the USCPA program. So really excited to tell you all about our program. So I'm going to start off with our mission. So we always like to start off with our mission because in general, as you're going to be looking into different PA programs, it's going to be really important to make sure that you're looking at the mission statement and just making sure that you align really well, that it's a good fit, and that it's going to be something that you want to do as you become a PA. So our mission statement reads as follows. The primary care physician assistant program at USC is dedicated to the advancement of physician assistant education and emphasizes service to the medically underserved. The program is committed to preparing students from diverse backgrounds to positively transform the healthcare system. Students, graduates, faculty, and staff are committed to doing this through collaboration, inclusivity, innovation, integrity, excellence, and joy. So I know that's a long statement, but really, the main thing is that we are primary care focused and we are looking to help the medically underserved. So that's going to be a big thing for us, our commitment to service. And then we want to diversify the healthcare system. So we want to bring in diverse applicants so that they can go out and hopefully go out into diverse areas and help the medically underserved communities. All right, so I know I don't have too much time, so I'm really just going to go straight into some of the admission requirements and application procedures for our program. So some general information, admission is always in the fall semester only. So if you're applying this upcoming cycle, you are going to be applying for fall of next year, so fall 2024. You would need a bachelor's degree, and it can be in any discipline from a regionally accredited institution, or you can also be working towards your bachelor's degree. You just have to make sure that if you apply with your bachelor's degree in process, you would have to have it completed by the end of spring of next year. So that by the end of spring 2024, if you're applying for this upcoming cycle. So everything I'll be going through is really going to be if you're applying for this upcoming cycle. CASPA does open in April, and then I'll go into the deadline in a second. So you would have to either have the prerequisites completed or also working towards them. So if you're applying this upcoming cycle, all of your sciences need to be completed by the end of fall of this year. So it's going to be fall semester or quarter of 2023. And then any non-sciences, you do have until the end of spring of next year to complete those. So you would have until spring 2024 to complete those courses. And then our deadline is November 1st. So you have from when CASPA opens, which is April 27th this year. And then our secondary application opens on May 1st. And then you have until November 1st to submit all those things. So we do require a CASPA, a supplemental application, and then a $50 fee payment. So you would have to have those submitted by then, just making sure that after that November 1st deadline, you have no more than 2 non-sciences in progress. All right, so now I'm just going to be going over some of our course requirements. So on the left, we have our science prerequisites. So we do require the year of biology, year of general chemistry with lab, 1 semester or quarter of microbiology with lab, 1 semester or quarter of human anatomy with lab, and then 1 semester or quarter of human physiology. So one thing that I want to note for the science prerequisites, you do have to take courses that are for health science majors only. So we wouldn't accept anything that's for non-healthcare specific. So then as well, a question that we always get is if your institution offers maybe a human anatomy and a human physiology combined, can you take those? And the answer is yes. You just have to make sure you take the full series. So you can either take those two separately, or you can take a combined series, which tends to be A&P1 and A&P2. So for non-sciences, we have those on the right. So we do require 1 semester or 1 quarter of general/intro psychology, and it does have to be that general or intro psychology. So if you've taken any kind of upper division courses, that would not be accepted. So just making sure it is that intro course. Statistics, 1 semester or quarter of that, and then we do require the year beginning Spanish. So that is going to be a little bit more specific to our program, a little bit more unique. The reason being is that we do have 3 modules of medical Spanish that our students go through. We our applicants to come in prepared for that for the program, so that's why we require that year of Spanish. And for medical terminology, it's going to be 1 unit or a certificate of completion. And then a year of English may be required, but that would be only for international applicants. And then a quick note on the non-sciences, we don't accept any AP credit for our science prerequisites, but we do accept AP credit for non-science. So if you have AP credit for, you could use that potentially for psychology, statistics, or beginning Spanish. You just have to make sure that any AP credit that you might have is listed on your official college transcripts, and they would have to state the credit that you received, the courses that you waived out of, and you could potentially not have to take that. Okay, so moving forward to our course equivalency. So I know I just mentioned a lot of prerequisites. So we do have a course equivalency that's available on our website. At the end of this presentation, I'll have a slide that will take you over to our website. We have a QR code. So we have a course equivalency. We obviously don't have them for every single institution, but we do have a long list. If you find your institution on there, admissions has gone ahead and we have pre-approved all the courses on there to make it easy for you. So if you take the courses listed on there, you should be good. The only one that isn't going to be on there is our medical terminology. That one is newer. So for that one, you would just kind of have to reach out to us and then we would let you know. But if your institution isn't on there, or if maybe you took a course from that institution and you're not sure if it would be accepted, we would just need some additional information. So if you would email over the information that you see on this slide here to our program email, a counselor would take a look at it and then we would let you know if that would be accepted or not. Okay, so admissions criteria. So there's going to be a lot of different things that we're going to be looking at when we look at your application. We are a holistic, we do look at it holistically. So we won't just be looking at one thing, we'll be looking at your application as a whole. So these would be the different things we would be looking at. So firstly, it's going to be mission. So like I said, we are very mission minded. So if you, oftentimes you can show that with your community service, because we are looking for people that want to go out and, help the community, help medically underserved areas. So we would accept any kind of non-healthcare related community service as well as medically underserved community service. And for us, we actually don't require any kind of hours. So really just check in with every specific program. But for us, we don't require any, we don't have a specific hour requirement for community service or for clinical experience. GPA, we are expecting a 3.0 for your overall GPA and then a 3.0 for your science GPA. And we would accept no grades lower than a C. But that being said, it is a holistic review. So if your GPA is a little lower than that, that's okay. You can still apply. We won't disregard your application. It's not like we won't look at it. We'll still go through it. Just making sure if maybe you are a little bit under that GPA, that you can show that upward trend. So just making sure that maybe if you struggled your freshman or sophomore year, showing that you took on more courses or you retook those courses, you improved your grades, because we'll really be just trying to make sure that you can handle the rigors of PA school. So making sure that you can show an upward trend in your GPA. And then for standardized testing, we do not require any kind of GRE or MCAT scores. So if you submit those, we just won't regard them. Okay, so clinical experience. So clinical experience is definitely going to be something that is also not required, but it is preferred. So we prefer community service, we prefer clinical experience, but we won't set a certain hour requirement. So for clinical experience, it's really going to be anything that's going to get your hands on a patient. So any kind of direct patient care experience, whether that's taking vitals, whether that's administering EKGs, blood tests, ultrasounds, all those things that are going to get your hands on a patient. And this is just a list. We also have this on our website. This is some of the things that we have approved. We also approve virtual experiences. So if you have any kind of telehealth appointments, that would be accepted as well. Just keep in mind, so all of these typically do have that direct patient care experience we're looking for, but it's really up to you to be super descriptive in your CASPA, making sure that you're stating how you deliver the patient care experience. So you can say, I administered blood tests, I took the patient's vitals, because if you just list the job title, but you're not specific, that won't really tell us how you're getting that patient care experience. And then other experiences could also be accepted as well. It would just really be about, like I said, have it being hands-on in nature. Okay, so then PA shadowing, so something that's also preferred. So if you have PA shadowing, definitely included in your CASPA. This isn't something that it's really going to be for your benefit. Shadowing a PA, it's going to really help you to see what a PA does day to day. It's going to help you solidify why you want to be a PA. So I think it really just helps applicants with their personal statements when it comes to, if you're in an interview talking about that shadowing experience. So we would accept a wide range of shadowing, whether that's working alongside a PA, any kind of virtual experience, even YouTube videos, telehealth appointments, case studies you find online, anything that really just helps you be able to articulate the role of a PA. And then research and lab experience, definitely include that in your CASPA if you have it. We do give credit, but it's not heavily weighted or anything, but it definitely included if you have it. Okay, so next steps, let me see how much time I have. Okay, so next steps, right now, it's great that you're attending this, info session because you're hearing about lots of different programs. If you're interested specifically in our program, definitely check out our website. When I go to the next slide, I'll have a QR code that you can scan. But on there, we're going to have so much more information. And if you want to attend a workshop that's specifically for us, we do have those that are going to be upcoming during the summer. So in February, sometime in February, we'll post those to our events page. And we're going to be going over CASPA, supplemental, clinical experience, things about our program. So definitely sign up for those when you see those posted. And then lastly, speaking with an admissions counselor, we are here to help guide you in this journey towards becoming a PA. So, we can help you with course reviews. We can help you with just any general questions that you might have about our program, as well as counseling appointments if you need one. So last slide, if you scan that QR code, it'll take you over to our website where I said we have a lot more information on there. We try to kind of post everything on the website so that you have a lot of access to info. But if you want to call us, here's our phone number. If you want to email us, here's our email. Definitely reach out to us via email if you have any additional questions, and we could definitely connect from there. Here's a direct link to our website. But that's pretty much it for me. Thank you so much for having me, and I will answer any questions if I see them in the chat box. But yeah.
Thank you so much, Jocelyn. Mm-hmm. There is a question in the Q&A. I'm not sure if it's addressed to any schools specifically. I took dual enrollment in high school with my local community college. Would those classes be accepted?
Yeah, so for us, if you took courses in college and you were in high school, that would be accepted. We accept anything that's from a regionally accredited institution. And definitely ask specific programs. For example, we accept in-person, virtual, and online. And we even accept online for labs. We always have, not just because of COVID, but you just have to make sure that you're taking these courses from a regionally accredited institution. And like I said, we have that course equivalency on our website. So take a look, but we don't have everything on there. So if you have just more questions, you can always email us with that information.
Thank you so much. And up next, we are still on time. I'm very impressed, everybody. So next up is Western University. Actually, we are 2 minutes early. Fun. Okay, so Tanisha, please take over. And students, please think of questions for Jocelyn, for KGI. Justin, if you have any questions about the student experience at KGI, feel free to post your questions in the Q&A. If Ben and let me see, I don't see anybody from Total Care, but if you have any questions for Total Care, you can put it in the chat and I'm going to make sure that Ben gets them. All right, so Tanisha, please feel free to continue.
Thank you, Christina. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. Thank you so very much. Most of the information is going to be the same for all of the programs, but Western U was founded in 1977 as the College of Osteopathic Medicine of the Pacific. In 1996, Western U was created, and in 1990, our primary care PA program was launched. In 2021, we were voted the largest health professions graduate school in California. We have over 27 programs for our 9 colleges, with 3,800 students currently enrolled. Here is a comprehensive list of the doctorate degrees that we offer at Western U, and then we also offer a lot of masters. But for this panel, specifically, we're going to talk about PA. Our PA program is 6 semesters, 2 full years, and in that time, we're hoping to develop compassionate providers to provide care that is effective and patient-centered. Western U does focus on interpersonal communication skills, a high level of responsibility for your patients, and we have a long tradition of humanistic values. Our entire university was founded on the principle of humanism and humanistic medicine. We do, as every other school, use a holistic approach in how we care for our patients, and that extends from our osteopathic medicine program. We know that the PA profession is supposed to grow over 37% in the next few years, with a median salary of $98,000. We are located in Southern California, just as a few of the other schools here. We are not in the LA area, but we are close enough to it so that if you need to get your fix of LA and the surrounding areas, you can get there in a short period of time. We offer a vast variety of student support services. More focused is our lead office, which is our Learning Enhancement and Academic Development Center. There we offer counseling services as well as writing seminars to help develop great writing skills, critical thinking skills, and organizational skills. We focus on topics such as stress management, study skills, time management, anything that's going to aid the students to be more successful in their studies. We have a summer preparedness program, and that's in the summer before you matriculate, and it's normally 3 weeks. It roughly costs about $400, and it's to help the students to get a jump start on their education before they actually start their program. In that time, they'll meet with faculty and other students and get a head start on the curriculum and the material and the expectations of what's required for them throughout the PA program. For any questions regarding our support services, you can contact Lead directly. The number is listed there, and it's also located if you click on the prospective student link that I posted in the chat. We have a 98% on-time graduation rate. We have a 100% of our board passing rate, and that's in the first time, a 98% placement in the 96% placement into the field, and then a 4% placement into internships and residencies. Our curriculum is stated online. There's a whole section developed to it, but in there we do it in phases, phase 1, phase 2, and 3. And those are for your year 1, you go through phases 1 and 2, including your didactic education, interprofessional education, which at Western U means that of the 9 colleges, you will interact with all 9 of those colleges. And then the medical assistants and pharmacy techs from the local schools that come in, and you will do case studies over the entire year that you're there. It roughly takes place over a span of 6 weeks and is about 4 hours, but it is to help everyone learn to work together as health professionals to better diagnose and treat patients. You'll have simulated patient experiences in that first year as well, along with your clinical research. Year 2, phase 3 is when you're doing all of your rotations, your preceptorships, getting ready for your boards and your clinical project presentations. We have listed the timeline for the program and what's going to happen in year 1, year 2. And at the end of the year, of the second year, you guys are done, and commencement will be in May of that year. Some of our clinical experiences are listed. During your second year, it's 11 months of rotations. You have 7 that are required and 3 that are elective. Some of those elective rotations include rheumatology, neurology, and trauma surgery. We know right now that we see a lot of PAs going into emergency medicine. And so we were hoping that in the next wave of PAs that you will want to diversify and not necessarily practice emergency medicine, but some other areas of specialty that will better benefit our populations at large. There we have a picture of our patient care center. Some of your rotations will be done there, but you will be going out elsewhere. You can choose from any place in the US to do your rotations, but we do have facilities on campus and shortly and around the area in order to help make sure that students get the experience that they need in order to become great practitioners. Some of our rotation sites that are listed would include Arrowhead Regional Medical Center, which is a teaching hospital, Kaiser Permanente, Children's Hospital of Orange County, UCI Medical Center as well. Again, the application process will open in April and then closes November 1st. Qualified candidates will complete an interview if invited, and then acceptances are in March of the following year. So if you're applying for this current cycle, it's 2023. If you're applying for the 2024 cycle, it's 2024. We do encourage you to submit your applications early as we process applications in the order that is received. And if there is anything outstanding, we can go ahead and address it early so that you aren't waiting for a phone call for an interview or an email because of something that was outstanding. All applications will be done through CASPA. You must have your degree conferred before you matriculate into our program, which means at the end of the spring term of entry. While the overall required GPA is a 3.0 to be competitive, especially in today's application cycle, I encourage you to make sure that your GPAs roughly hover around a 3.65, as that seems to be the average as of late. You must have 2 letters of recommendation. They may not be from friends or family, and we would prefer that one be from a PA. We require community service hours and not patient care experience. The minimum that we ask for at the time of application is 120 hours. More competitive applicants typically have between 300 and 500 hours, and those hours can be completed at places such as homeless shelters, community outreach programs, through tutoring, veterans programs, maybe in a clinical setting as an emergency assistant or a patient visitor escort, sometimes youth mentoring, working with senior citizens, and then also for those who have church or missionary trips and outreach, those hours will be accepted as well. All prerequisites must be completed with a grade of a C or higher. We do not accept courses below a C. A C- would mean that you would need to retake that. If you do retake coursework, we have what we call a repeated coursework form. It doesn't include withdrawals or pass or fail courses, but we will then recalculate your GPA so that only your highest attempt will be factored in. We do not currently require any entrance exams, and we will not consider them if you had already taken. The same as with the previous schools, we require anatomy and physiology. Both must have a lab. You can take a combined class and it has to be the full year series. Microbiology does not have to have a lab. It is preferred that you do. Genetics and then general chem must be a full sequence. For our non-science prerequisites, you must take psychology and it must be general or introductory. Sociology, again, general or introductory. And if you don't take the intro to social, you may take cultural anthropology. 1 full year of English, you must take statistics, college algebra or higher, and then 3 humanities courses, whether it be religion, art, music, any of those would qualify. We do not accept advanced placement courses, not even for non-science prerequisites. The science prerequisites must have been completed within the past 7 years or the 7 years that you're applying for. So if you were applying for the current cycle, your anatomy and physiology courses could not be any older than 2016, spring of 2016. We have our prerequisite coursework database where you can go in and make sure that the courses that you're taking are approved in our database. If you see a comma, that means you only need one of those. You don't have to take the full series. Sometimes it can be confusing. If you see an and, then that means you must take all the courses within that comma space. So for example, the physiology one, if you took 111A, you would also need 111B, and then the lab, which is 111L. So that would be the coursework from UCLA. Our competitive class statistics, once again, the average overall GPA is a 3.66, the prerequisite GPA of a 3.75, and overall science, the average is a 3.67. We do grant over this year over 500 interviews, and we do enroll 98 students into our program every year. We are, again, looking at competitive applicants to have a myriad of things. That means your GPA, your commitment to community service, some shadowing experience. There is no magic number, but the more hours that you do have, the better understanding that you have of the PA profession. And then if you are in any pre-PA clubs and organizations, we do look favorably upon that. Our tuition per year is $44,105. Again, we offer financial aid through FAFSA. We also have a board of trustee scholarship that is new to our university, in which they cover your tuition up to $50,000 per year. Each year it's renewable for any of our programs, but especially for PA. Our financial aid counselors will package you ahead of time. They will headhunt scholarships and opportunities and grants for you as well. If you have any questions, you can reach out to them directly. They love phone calls, and they actually love to help our students to get a handle on the financial portion of their education. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. You can give me a call, shoot me an email at trowan@westernu.edu. And then we have 5 new counselors in order to help to assist you as well. And I'll stop sharing my screen.
Thank you so much, Tanisha. If anybody has any questions about Western's program or any of the other programs previously, feel free to put it in the Q&A or chat, or hold on to it until the Q&A comes in. That's fine too. If you have any questions about the Career Center, please feel free to ask those as well. So Leslie, take it over. You are representing Marshall B. Ketchum University, so feel free to share your screen.
Okay, perfect. Let me see if I can get this going. Can everybody see my screen just fine?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Well, hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Leslie Lim. I am the Director of Admissions here at Marshall B. Ketchum University. So I'm excited to tell a bit more about our program, as well as the admissions requirements for our program, which is fairly similar to all the other programs that are here today. So just a little bit about Ketchum. Our program was founded back in 2012. We are a fully accredited program with continued status. We are located in Fullerton, California, right across the street from Cal State Fullerton. We do offer 2 other programs here as well on campus. We have an optometry and also a pharmacy program. Our program is 27 months long. Your first year, you'll be in the classroom, and then your second year, you will be out in clinical rotations. Each year, we only accept 40 students into the program. We have a very low student-faculty ratio of 8:1, and we admit students only during the fall entry. Our mission here at Ketchum highlights the qualities and the characteristics that we are looking for in an applicant. Our mission here is to educate our students to be compassionate PAs who can provide the highest quality healthcare in a collaborative environment, and also are dedicated to their communities, and also the desire to advance the PA profession. Your first year of didactic education, again, you will be in the classroom Monday through Friday. Your first year of PA school will be in the classroom with instruction in applied medical sciences, patient assessment, clinical medicine, and pharmacotherapeutics. Our system-based module curriculum, which is really unique, is organized into system-based modules, which means that each body system, the student learn about the anatomy, physiology, pharmacology, which pertains to that system. And each module will be built on each other. So this gives you an opportunity to be able to review the patient as a whole from top to bottom. Our exams is pass or no pass to eliminate any competition in the classroom. It also consists of individual and group assessment as well. So once students complete their first year in the classroom, they will then move to clinical rotation their second year. For our program, clinical education start in November, right after didactic, and run straight through to the following November. You will be rotating, you are required to complete 7 required rotations, and you get to select 2 elective rotations. And most of our rotations are about 5 weeks, and you will also complete 1 rotation at an underserved site. Our facilities, so we do have some really awesome technology here at Ketchum. We do have the Entomosh table, which is a 3D anatomy cadaver lab. It gives you the opportunity to virtually dissect anatomy on a large touchscreen, which is pretty much like a giant tablet. We also have the SimMan, which allow our students to practice giving care as well as work with the other disciplines here on campus as well. We have Ketchum Health, which is about 7 miles here from main campus, but it gives you students the opportunity to work with our optometry and also our pharmacy students as well in a collaborative environment. The program recognizes the importance of giving back and participating in community outreach events, which is a required element of the program. So we do collaborate with several local organizations, and we are able to serve multiple underserved communities as well. On the admissions process, so we do take a holistic approach. We look at your application holistically. We look at the type of coursework, your academic trends, the clinical experience, where have you taken your courses? Are you earning your grades? Are you earning A's and B's in those courses? As well as looking at your personal statement, supplemental application responses. And then the other component would be your personal interview, which you will have on campus. Here are the admissions requirements for Ketchum. All of your documents and transcript and CASPA application must be completed by September 1st. We do require that you have a bachelor's degree and submit 3 letters of recommendation. We strongly recommend that you have letters at least from 1 clinician and someone you have known for 6 months. There is a supplemental application that you will have to complete, and questions will be completed on CASPA. So you would, all the questions will be on CASPA, so you wouldn't have to log onto our portal to complete the secondary application. The minimum for most of our competitive applicants, we look at your overall GPA and your overall science GPA. So we do consider any, if you do not have above a 3.0, we do consider your application, and we'll look at your application holistically to see if there's any academic trends in your application. And we are also requiring 2,000 hours of direct hands-on patient care experience. In order for applications, again, to be considered, you want to make sure that you have all your prerequisites completed prior to December 31st. So if you are taking classes in the fall semester, you may list those course in progress. However, it will need to be completed by December 31st. So we don't have any coursework expiration date with the exception of human anatomy with lab and human physiology with lab, which must be taken within the last 7 years. And here at Ketchum, we also accept courses completed online as well. A clinical experience. So it is very important that PA applicants are familiar with medical care environment and also the role of PA as well experience working with patients. So this is not an exhaustive list, but healthcare experiences will be considered on a case by case depending on the quality of the patient interaction. So if you don't see the experience list on here, you can always send us an email letting us know, that your jobs and responsibility in that setting, clinical experience, for us to go ahead and verify. What we normally traditionally look for is to see if your patient care experience consists of history taking, treatment delivery, any physical contact. Do you have experience in both inpatient and outpatient setting, and also the complexity roles of the training and responsibility as well. Oh, and shadowing hours is not required. So you don't have to have, there's a set number of shadowing hours that you have to complete. After the initial screening and application review, competitive applicants are invited for an interview, and our interviews typically will take place between October through December. It will be a hybrid, so you have the option of an in-person interview or a virtual interview. And then our interview format, it includes an interview with 2 of our faculty or community PA, a group interview, a written assessment, and then an opportunity to meet our current PA students as well as tour our campus. So this is our deadline for Ketchum. For the fall 2023, our application deadline will be September 1st. Your application must be complete, meaning that your all transcripts, payment, as well as 2 letters of reference have been received by CASPA and attached to the application. We are non-rolling admissions, so applications will be reviewed as soon as we receive all the application by September 1st. So there is no advantage if you're applying early on as soon as the CASPA application cycle opens in April, or if you plan to apply towards the end of the cycle. So you do have from April until September 1st to submit your application, and then we will start our review process. So the interview evaluation. So these are some of the things that we will look for during the interview component. So the committee will observing applicant and evaluate personal attributes and on communication skills. If you have any questions, feel free to send us an email. We are also are open to meeting with you as well. If you have any questions, you can also send us an email and we will be more than happy to schedule a time to meet with you. All right, well, thank you so much. I'll go ahead and open this floor for any questions, if anyone has any.
I actually have one for all of you while the students are thinking. How important do you think is for students to visit the institutions they plan to attend? Because I always recommend it, because in my opinion, I think it's important to kind of see the environment and to talk to as many people as they can. But what do you think of how important is an in-person visit to a campus before submitting an application?
I mean, it doesn't change whether put you at an advantage of getting an interview with the program or not. We always advise you to meet with us if you have any questions or concern about your application, or if you are needing verification, of any courses. It's really more, it's an opportunity for you to get to know us a little bit more, and for us to provide any resources that we can to help you through the process.
I'd like to respond to that. This was actually brought up in a study that we did this past week, but students who visit a particular campus or a set of campuses are more likely to commit to the campuses that they're visiting. One, because they get to see themselves in the environment in which they want to go and study. Two, they get to get a feel for the faculty, the staff, the students of that institution, and know if it's going to be a good fit for them or not. So we highly encourage campus visits at Western U, not necessarily just for Western U, but just to allow the applicants the opportunity to see themselves in the spaces that they're applying to. They've already done the hard work of trying to figure out what programs they want to apply to. This is just an added bonus for them. And then it also gives them the sense of fitting into the campus life, which they are pursuing.
Thank you. Anybody else? Jocelyn, Christy?
Yeah, well, currently for us, we unfortunately aren't offering any kind of campus tours. Right now, we're trying to keep it limited to those that get invited for interviews. So we do have optional in-person tours, but we are hoping, we're just kind of thinking of doing kind of like a virtual tour and maybe posting that on our website soon so that applicants have access to that so that everybody can. And that way it's not, kind of like they feel like they don't get to see the campus, but totally understand why an applicant would want to go into the environment and see it. But, just our team, I think, can only do so much with the in-person tours. But if we can post like a virtual tour online, and then, like I said, those that we invite to interview, we definitely do think that it makes a big difference. So we offer that in-person option for them.
Thank you. Christy, would you like to add anything? If not, we have a great question in the Q&A. What are some ideal attributes that interviewers look for in a possible candidate? Who wants to take that? Leslie, I see you unmuted.
I'll take it. I think what most of the committee definitely do look for is to see, are you compatible with the program, and certain qualities, as if you are compassionate, or do you have empathy? Those are going to be things that they are going to look for. Other aspect as well includes your leadership, professionalism. There's a broad range of what our committee look for. So you want to make sure when you come in for an interview that you put your best foot forward, and also your application more than we do. This is just an opportunity for us to get to know you a little bit more beyond looking at the metrics of your GPA, all your patient care experience. It's an opportunity for us to get to know you.
Anyone else would like to add?
Yeah, I
Jocelyn?
can add. So for us, it's really, like I said, we are very mission-minded. So you coming in and you showing those mission kind of qualities, wanting to help underserved communities, and not just saying it, because you can look at a website and kind of see those mission statements. We want to know how you've done it. So what is it in whether it's your community service, your clinical experience that you've done that shows those actionable qualities. And then just being genuine. For us, our interviews are blinded. So when an applicant comes in, we don't have, the application in front of us. We're not looking at that. We want, for you to tell us, one, why do you want to come into USC, but also why do you want to be a physician assistant specifically? Because, you could have chosen the MD route, you could have chosen to be, a pharmacy student. There's a lot of different ways that you can help, but why do you want to help as a PA specifically? So I think knowing those things, and when you come in for your interview, just being your genuine self is going to always make you stand out in those ways.
What Leslie said gave me a good idea to ask something that I always get as a question from students about blemishes in their application. Sometimes they had a class where they didn't perform the way they want to, or they don't have enough experience. And I would like you to address how they should talk about that in an interview, or even in their applications. Should they have the story? Should they include it in their personal statement? What is your opinion about that?
To clarify, was that, did you say like for any grades lower than a C? Or
Not
like,
necessarily lower than a C, but sometimes even a B or a B minus is giving some students a pause whether they are competitive enough of a candidate, or why they may have performed, or maybe they have taken a quarter off for a personal reason,
Mhm.
or something along those lines. How would you recommend they address anything that is unusual in their application?
Yeah, so definitely for us, we have a section in our secondary application where they can tell us. We ask if you got anything lower than a C, what were you going through? And I think addressing it in a way that, you talk about what you went through, what you experienced, but then what did you do to overcome it? So always, touching on, yeah, I went through this, but then I learned how to study better, or I learned, those actionable things that it's going to show us, okay, when this person, if they come in, they can handle the rigors of PA school, because, it is a rigorous program. For a lot of programs, it's going to be a lot of work. So just making sure that you can show committees, if you might have struggled, the things that you did to ensure that you ended up passing that class or retaking and getting a better grade.
And to touch on that, Jocelyn, yes, like I agree with what Jocelyn said. You also want to be transparent as well. Like, we understand that maybe your freshman year you were going through some personal thing that was out of your control. Be able to talk about it and how you have overcome it. We like to see that you are resilient, and being able to, if let's say you got an F in a class the first year semester, and then you went back and retake the class and receive an A. Those are things that the committee is going to look for in your application. But if you have, consistent W's and F, that might be alarming to us, and then you haven't shown us that there's any improvement. That might be a red flag for us. But if you have shown that, you have improved and you have went back and have work on your academics, those are things that we are going to look for, and that's going to be viewed favorably.
Yeah, I agree. It's always better to address it and not let the admissions committee, kind of have that gap for us to try to maybe put words into your mouth, right? Like, we don't want to assume one way or the other. And when we see a grade and it's not your best effort, and because something happened, we'd rather you tell us about it than us be left to just be open and assume that, oh, maybe that means that, they may not be as capable. I wouldn't be afraid of B's, as well as much. I think there's too much emphasis, because I know there are, programs, none of the programs here, because, we all know each other, and how we look at applications. But I know there are programs out there that they're like, we don't even look at people less than a 3.8, right at the beginning. And that's just not true. That's just not how it is for most of us. We really want to get to know you as a whole person. So do not fear the B's. Give us if you think that wasn't your best effort, or you were going through some stuff, absolutely, I agree. Please share it. But especially when it's those lower grades as well, we really need to know and see how you overcame it. And that's actually a really positive thing that can actually be seen as a positive. You overcoming something can be very, very positive and reflect your grit, which is a huge factor for people being able to make it through PA school.
And since I'm the last person to talk, but just I was going to say earlier about the resiliency, but also just as a whole, and you see my background back there, just to let applicants know to grant yourself a little bit of grace. Those are things that happen. It helps to create better practitioners because it kind of humbles you, gives you a sense of humility. We are an empathetic institution, and I'm sure all of us are. We are looking at the whole person. So one flaw does not make your entire career. It's not going to break something. Life happens. We just came out of a big pandemic where we understood that there were ebbs and flows and things change. So, don't be afraid. Maybe the adjustment take a little bit longer for you. We just want to, I think for all of us, see a upward swing, how you bounce back, what made it stick that much more strongly for you, that helped you to not just overcome, but to succeed and to conquer something that maybe was not favorable for you during that time frame. And when you're out practicing, you have to have that same mentality so that your patients and those that you're touching and that you are impacting can still have that same perspective, because it's not just what you do in the classroom, it's a whole approach to how you practice, how you carry on in your daily, and how we hope that you will influence the next generation of PAs or applicants in order to be their best selves, knowing that even for our best, we still have some failures, but we just want you to overcome.
Thank you for that input. And my last question is about letters of recommendation. At a large institution like UCLA, students are very stressed about letters of recommendation. So what would you say you consider a strong letter of recommendation, and how would you advise students to choose their letter writers?
I'm going to answer this right up front. I get this question all the time, and really, you want to have people who are going to recommend you, who are invested in you, not just because you have a familiarity because you took their particular class. But when you ask for letters of recommendation, you want to have a rapport with that recommender. You want to know that how they're going to impact your future is going to be reflected in your letter. You want to make sure that their investment in you is not just for that moment, it's for the long term. So when you're considering these things, you can be in your freshman, your sophomore year, but it's someone that you've been building a relationship with over a span of time, so that when you have, I always say get a binder together and have a bunch of letters of recommendation on hand, but you really need to choose people who are invested in you and your future.
That's such good advice. And I would say someone who has seen you in action, working alongside either patients or just other people. So whether it's in volunteer work or in your patient care experience or things like that, that really gives a sense of how you're going to be as a provider too, and the level of compassion you have. You definitely don't want, if you ask a recommender who's the CEO of the company or the corporation, who barely has interacted with you, we can tell, we can see that it's an impersonal letter with someone who hasn't. And I think that what Tanisha said is such beautiful advice about that person and being invested in you, someone who really has seen you in action and can attest to your skills and abilities, I think is going to be definitely number one. I know all of us would have different requirements as far as what the letters need to be. So some require an academic letter along with maybe a provider letter and things like that. So you're really going to have to go to each of the institutions that you're interested in applying to see what kinds of letters are required. But in general, when selecting someone, definitely select someone who has seen you in action, whether it's academically and at the bedside, wherever, who can really attest to your character and how you're going to be as a future PA. And someone who knows the profession. So if they start talking about the profession as if it's something else totally different, that also doesn't reflect well on you either. So as hard as that is, make sure that they know the profession that you're applying to get into as well. And if you have these conversations, it's like, I don't even think they know what a PA is, then I wouldn't pick them. So at least without educating them a lot.
Thank you very much for that input. I will stop the recording. So thank you everybody for joining us today.